We thank you for being here to amplify the voice of a party so what we are convinced must happen, a national conversation on the way forward for this country. We are gathered our vision and mission as this nation embarks on a transition that is yet to arrive at its destination. 2016 was the start of a transition. We are here today. We must prepare for tomorrow. We are convinced that even if the government this nation is at a crossroads and is in transition. It is in transition because a nation must have a founding instrument, and that is a constitution. And that founding instrument is yet to be crafted. Of 2016. And where are we to go from henceforth? That is a fundamental conversation that Pdois intends to have with the citizenry, the membership and leadership of our party. Today, many voices could be heard regarding fundamental instrument. The National Assembly now has a bill before aiming to provide a constitution for the Gambia. What we hear all over, some are saying it disappear as it arrives in that National Assembly. But it has not disappeared. So this shows a nation understanding of all of us. Gambia belongs. How it is to be governed depends on us, all of us. No single person should surrender that duty, that responsibility to determine the future of this country. And decrees made supreme in determining was being adopted at a referendum, and anybody who spoke was just a but had no legal mandate to speak, no authority from the people. They were going to strengthen military rule by not embracing, after the coalition won, to say that end of the term of his office, and the audacity to say that. And that president is gone around. No term limit existed in 1970. That's why it stayed for 22 years. And it was only by show a level ground for multi-party contest, ownership of, and no one will govern without any limitation, and it will be broadened. This is merely designed. We have a National Assembly in charge of Section 226 says very clear that and why it is reasonable to use it. Standing Order 64 affirms that when the president is executive, the executive can only propose, but its intention in the form of a bill, in 2 publications, and the latest publication not being 3 months after the first publication, and then introduced in the National Assembly in not less than 10 days after the latest publication. It is now the lawmakers are the crafters of law. The executive is not the maker of the law or the builder of the law. The National Assembly members are part of the makers of the law, because finally it is the people who become the real makers, the ultimate makers of the law, of the Constitution. So your National Assembly members and vote to determine whether the bill will pass or not. And we are posing very fundamental questions to each Gambian, and each of you must answer that question. We have elected lawmakers. Should they whine that the executive has done its volition and brought whatever constitutional draft wishes? Should they query about that? That's the volition of the but now power belongs to the National Assembly members. They now have what that executive brings, and more are really there for the people to do that. But they cannot do that until the bill on reading. Because the power they have is after the second reading, if it is passed, they still have the power to throw it at the time they so desire. But they are not asked to vote. Then it means that the executive is the constitution or maker of the constitution. Because if they bring what they want and then you just throw it out, then you are saying that they are the makers of the constitution. But National Assembly members are not put there for that purpose. They are there to make the law. The executive is just proposing. Now they are the ones who should make the law. If the maker of the law says that he cannot make the law, then Gambia is in trouble. If the maker of the law, then Gambia is in trouble. Then dissolve your legislature and know that it's not fit for purpose. The legislators to allow the bill to pass the second reading and go to the committee stage. When it goes to the committee stage, they should have public hearing in and outside the National Assembly, from Katong to Koina, Bahara to Paloli, to listen about each of those provisions that they have the might and authority to dismantle everything that the executive put in its proposal. Three-quarter majority is the threshold. And this is what the debate is all about. They can look at each provision, they may agree, they may disagree. If they see it does not allow them to ultimately have the three-quarter threshold in the third reading, well, the nation will know who was against what and who did. Provisions needed by the nation, supported by the people, would have been known. If it is rejected by a few who made it impossible to have three-quarter majority, the population will know. 2026 is not far away. If the population truly, and they want in that constitution, they know how they want to be governed, then they will deal with anybody who. This opportunity we have that we never had for the nation to engage in consultation in order to prepare for a new republic must not at all the nation is moving. We are told that a budget of 37.8 billion has been passed into law, and now they are moving towards budget execution. Interestingly enough, to handle the National Debt Service, the sum has increased from 2024 to 2025 from 7 billion to 11 billion. 11 billion. This is more than your budget on education, 5 billion, or health, 2.7 billion, or works, 2.2 billion, agriculture, 900 and something million, on debt. If you were to ask the minister, money going to come from? From taxation. And non-tax sources, they're talking about asset recycling will contribute $50 billion. Over $3 billion. Recycling your bridge. Nations build bridges, airports, seaports, to facilitate the movement of people, services, in order to facilitate development. Gambia from GGC. The previous government came, of course, the government of the First Republic took GPMB, that's what GGC was called, bankrupted it, and sold it for 26 million. And even in selling 7 million and 6 million the last year. The cornerstone of industrialization of a small country. It would produce in transforming your groundnuts into oil, producing groundnut cake, and then dump the shells. You see close to the bridge where they used to dump the shells, and then it will be inflamed, burnt, pollute the whole environment. How many years Pdois told you what could be done with that groundnut shell? Now they are purchasing the groundnut shell to fuel what will heat the boilers in order to produce electricity. Now it's an industry. Buying groundnut shells is an industry for a nation that does not know how to make use of its assets. And knowledge is so important in the building of a nation. But what happened? People who thought that they have taken over power through the barrel came, and what did they do? Took over GGC by force. They were taken to international arbitration. $11 million for such an act. The world does not run by force. It is destroyed by force. Might can never triumph. It can only destroy, and destroy the mighty. And that's what happened. Now they are saying they are recycling for profit, but then if there is currency devaluation of some sort, if the exchange rate is not favorable to the, whatever you have to pay will increase. And then you have to increase the charges. And if the charges become unaffordable, what will people do? They'll look for options. The neighboring country may also develop transport and avoid your bridge. Anything can happen. Those are the risks that you must measure and see whether it's worth the while. And it's not worth the while. The tax collector, they collect tax to pay the owe. So where do we go from here? During our tour, how to develop our agriculture. There are many projects. We'll tell you what those projects are, and we were doing, but these are just experiments. To be able to get 200,000 tons of rice, your country, my country is relying mainly on import. We are not exporting. Look at the groundnut season. They are saying we are not exporting. We are just importing. Foreign exchange from anywhere just to import or get budget support. That's what is happening. And the foreign exchange is mainly coming from remittances from Gambians abroad. That is the basis of support of our dollars. Essentially, they are having more and more difficulty in buying quality goods. Just some days ago, somebody said, yes, you about this rice that they are selling. Even you said that Saddam was a good rice, but look, and they showed me a Saddam rice. If you see just crawling, I don't know what, and this is supposed to be the good quality Saddam rice. So you will see all stocks will be sold and will be consuming. When we can produce all the rice, we are told that produce 5 tons. If you go to Egypt, Australia, they are producing 12 tons, 10 tons. And you've devoted 500 million to Nari last year, 500 million this year, that's $1 billion. So how will that go to the farmer and enable us to rely on about 60,000 hectares, and if it is 10 tons, half that, the more, the greater the yield, less the land you will use. That's what type of variety of crops do we need? And we will move towards food self-sufficiency. But to do that, we must empower the farmer. And the farmer produces, even the farmer to the coffers. That is the way to go. No other way but that. Other than that, you land and give it to a few. They engage in large-scale farming. Reside into the towns because they will not have land to cultivate anymore, and there are no industries in the town to provide them with. So you'll have massive unemployment, massive poverty. And that's why you have the Haitis of today. Rich land. Had gone through the first revolution of a republic. But today, gangs everywhere, to a point that they're equating poverty with the color of the skins. Low we have become in refusing to take charge of our destiny and putting people in office capable of harnessing our resources to ensure our development. It's not intelligence. Our problem is power being entrusted to people who are not yet prepared to govern, to remove us from the poverty we find ourselves. It is very clear as we move that our sea can provide us with all the fish we need so that we can have good quality living. We can. We can produce all the poultry, all the ruminants. We don't have the snow that exists in other parts of the world. Beautiful weather. So why are we poor? Go and find out just what panel, one panel, a solar panel, how much electricity it generates, to see that we can be self-sufficient in the production of electricity. In every nook and cranny of the country, just to open up the debate, we'll give you the facts. But now we are borrowing and borrowing. The Ministry of Energy is prepared to subsidize NAWEC, that it is owing Senelec of Senegal, Cap Power. That is what is happening. But where is sustainability? Where is sustainability? Is about sustainability. Where there's no sustainability, there can only be dependency, not development. That's artificial, it's cosmetic. And then they attack you. Don't you see this? You don't want to appreciate what we are doing. Yes. They do not look at the quality dimension and the sustainability dimension. How are the people living? Coming to the end, consider as the beginning of this national conversation. We will repeat that governing a country requires knowledge. You've heard in November announcement being made of a minister and we told them that the Constitution does not allow somebody to be a minister and also to be a part of the civil service. You cannot have that. In the estimates, they are there. Chief of Staff, when they were making the announcement, was a post in the and the Constitution says the ministers cannot. So you see decisions being made relying on Section 80, the president will create this post, you create a post. Section 150 of the Constitution is saying that everything that is collected in revenue must be put in the consolidated fund. Section 151, everything that must come from the consolidated fund must be by law. You ask for a post, where will the money come from to pay for that particular post? Unless you have supplementary allocation again. So you see, you look at Section 170, permanent sector. It is the Public Service Commission that should appoint the permanent sector in consultation with the head of the civil service. But you see, this overnight. Maybe Uncle Sam, maybe we'll charge Uncle Sam. Why don't you go and interview the chairman of the Public Service Commission and ask him whether he is the one making all these changes overnight in the positions of permanent, so frequent basis. So that we know that those who are given authority to govern will only do their best. But it is you who put them there. Don't expect us to come say everything to them when you put them there. Somebody even called me Uncle Sidi and said, wasn't the 2021 election rigged? I said, how many votes did you put in my ballot box? How many votes did you put in my ballot box? In Halifa Salah's ballot box? That's what I'm concerned with. So you give me the votes and you want me to go and challenge. I said, that's foolhardy. So the issue is for us as citizens to know that we are the leaders from the back. We get the type of leaders we put in there. Let's accept responsibility to hold them accountable and let them to come day and night and start wrangling about how they are governing the country. We've told you how they are governing the country. We've told you how they're handling agriculture. We've told you how they're handling every aspect. And that's what we are ready now to continue to do. You've heard them say they've increased the salaries of civil servants. A particular person we will not mention, compare Nigeria, compare Sierra Leone. Now our base is $3,000. $3,000 a bag of rice, 2,200. 50 kilo. And you beat your chest on that? You hear some people say, well, the problem of the civil service, there are some people on top, they are receiving more, others are receiving 3,000. Gambians pay what the top civil service receive. That is what this middle income society should receive. You go to the Georges, etc. These people cannot upkeep their petrol. $500 a day is how much? $15,000. Even if you receive $30,000, $15,000 on petrol. The other $15,000, what are you going to do with it? Meat every day, $450 is that's how much? That's $12,000. People are joking. Gambia is not a middle income country. That's why you have diabetes, all sorts of illnesses. They are nutrition. Good food, good quality food. That's the challenge. Not because we don't have it, we have the ocean, we have everything, but because we do not have the capacity to harness it. What type of human beings are we? We have the resources and we cannot harness it to live. That is the challenge. Let's challenge ourselves. If we engage in that conversation as a people on the problems of our country, we will decide on the type of leadership who should lead us. 2025 is a year of engagement. Constructive engagement with each of us, because each of us has a contract with nation and people. We either disregard at our peril. And we are happy that you come to join us today. We'll be giving you information, concrete information about your economy, about what is wrong, and how to right it. And we hope that at the end of this journey, before the end of 2025, we will know what our constitution is all about. You cannot talk about coalitions and what is going to happen in 2020. We are going to have a term limit, whether we are going to have 50 plus. We don't know anything. And people are not talking about that. That's not their concern. That should be our concern. Once we resolve that, then we know what we must do. Tactic is based on concrete reality. So we hope that with you, and it's your duty, engage all political figures on all these issues and help the Gambian people to get the facts and factors governing the underdevelopment of this country to ensure a path that would lead us to liberty, dignity, and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That scintillating exposition. Now, members, to ask questions if you have any. But before you ask a question, indicate who you are and what press house you are representing. The floor is now open for questions. There's somebody, okay. Your name?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Mahmoud. I am from PCB. And I wanted to ask, you recently concluded a nationwide poll, I believe. So I wanted you guys to give us like just briefly what you guys are going to hold another one. So if you could briefly tell us about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me get. Just hold it. Okay.
No, so, no, don't hold. You can manage it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. We told you that we were going to find out from the Gambian people as far as we are concerned, in 2021, explain a program to them on how to build sovereign national wealth in order to eradicate poverty in the Gambia. And the type of social programs, educational programs, all they voted the way they did. And after that, many people continue complaining that people are experiencing more hardship. We felt, and some by political figures, to effect the change. They even talked about coalitions and so on. We emphasize 2016. Change did come about. Why is it that that change has not given the effect? Would say that their purpose have been served. So therefore, that type of coalition cannot be the right type of coalition if people believe give them the type of society they had hoped for. So in that regard, it is important to go to the people and listen to what they have to say. What is their reality? Why do they think that that reality exists? Where do they go from there? And this is what we did. Every Bantaba that we found ourselves, and we heard many things. And obviously, we can see the poverty. In fact, one village, that's Boiram, some of our people went to a hot to try to fill a bottle. No, we cannot give water because we buy water. You are saying Gambian tradition is that wherever you go in a village, the first thing that they do is to bring water for you. Now you go to a hot, they say, no, we cannot give you water because we are buying the water. Findings that we saw on the way. The speeches of the ministers, they will tell you provided water for 250,000 people in 2024. So we'll give them those figures and say, are you part of those 250,000? They say, of course we are not. So that's the type of conversation. You'll go, women will tell you, we cultivate these onions. These people will just come and fill the bags and just give us, I think, $400 or $500. And then they take it across the border. No way, no weight and measure. They don't know the value of what they are producing. Essentially, we will be coming back after this tour to tell you concretely all our experiences. They were extremely revealing. You see the poor road conditions. It's just hardship. You just see hardship upon hardship. In that regard, we tell them what we think could be the solution. For example, you ask people, bag of rice is how much, they will tell you. Meat is how much, you tell you. And you calculate, do you have this a year? No, they don't have. So obviously you will see that they don't eat meat, they don't eat anything that you call protein that will keep them healthy. For us, and it's an engagement with the population, and we will continue and ultimately to have a more extensive press conference to share the findings with you. But hopefully those people who will also follow us, you can follow them so that what is actually said could be taken up by your media houses, and you can interview us or whatever when we come back or on the ground, so that you'll get more information.
Yeah?
Thank you very much. This is Esa about you've talked on
Media house?
Esa about schools.
Okay.
You've talked on it a bit in your address, that is the challenges in the agricultural sector. But still we see the government putting in just like you want to put across to the government?
Well, I believe our message is to the people. The government is a government that the people elected. We are to hold them to account. That is the role of the opposition. We've held them to account. I don't see anything that shows that we'll be self-sufficient in food production as long as we continue to do agriculture the way they do. We've made it clear that, in fact, we are beginning to see genetically modified emerging in the Gambia. We've gone to certain places where people have grown very fine corns, but they cannot get seed. It's just that we don't into a rally. Otherwise, we have a lot to talk about. The seed with Nari, how will it get to the farmers? So essentially, the ownership system, which is the family ownership system, maintained if you provide them with seed, fertilizer, farming implements. And when they have that, they will be able to produce at a large scale, and it's not charity, they will be able to pay back. In order to have sustainable food production and development. I don't know whether I've answered the issue. So that is the message, that you look at the current situation. And we want verification. That's why certain facts we don't put on the ground. But look at the groundnut price. They say $38,000. But if you go, we have bird feed, that's what we are producing. That's even the question. Why should Nari be there and still, since then, what is classified as bird feed for groundnuts? Why could we not improve to other varieties? But essentially, if you look at what they say is the world market price, it's about 1,500 revelation. So the question is, how did they come to 38,000? To us, we are convinced, and we are engaged in a debate among ourselves in terms of that you need a very strong farmers cooperative, and when they produce their crops, the government agents will come, whether it's a public enterprise will come, and then they sit down and they talk about the world market. Look at all the things that they have to do before that ground the cost. And therefore, verification of all the costs, and then determine price. Because the government is not supposed to exploit its citizens. And it's not supposed to sit down and witness others exploiting its citizens. So we don't believe that is happening, and that should happen. So that when the price is determined, everybody will know where Gambia is going to, whether we are going to process the etc. And not only wealth is coming from the, wealth is also coming from the shell. And if you turn it into oil, it comes from the groundnut cake. So there are a lot of value-added things, and the objective is for a government to protect the farmers. With the farming community on how they receive the prices of their nuts. And that is the difference between Pdois and this government, the government that existed before 2016. We've been challenging all these governments that is not the way to manage the affairs of farmers. But I've quoted certain things. Go and do your own I think you've seen the interviews. Interviews will continue with so that they become more transparent and more open on these issues, so that it becomes a national conversation. That's what transparency is all about. The same thing you can see the conflicts in the school system when it started with the university. We told them the way we intend to run a country is that the people unions, not to engage in any form of the members. So that if there is a problem, the union will come and negotiate. Student union will come, negotiate with administration. Staff union or association will come, negotiate with administration. Then you discuss. If those administrators are governing in the right way, the conflicts will be solved. Contradiction will be solved. Look at our market. You see these women occupying all the streets, the soldiers them, take their things, etc. It's like cat and mouse. The council just sits down and observe, and it is the duty of the council to provide markets. That's what the law says, local government provide markets. So no right to collect duty without providing me with a market. That's what Edward Francis Small said, no taxation without representation. Here too, no right to collect duty. Market women union, vendors union. This is what you need. So that it's not a political party exploiting something to try to use something to be able to get to power by of situation. No. A political party should explain its program, how it intends to do better than the existing government. But the issue of what is happening in society, society should be organized to find its rights so that those rights can be protected. Country of unions, of associations, of consumer protection associations, so that people will defend their individual rights and government will protect them, will come to their support. Instrument of coercion, it will be an instrument of protection. That's our difference.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Isam Okwai Media TV2 on King FM Radio. I want to know the really mean in our democratic system in this country.
Yes, you've said what you've said. It is you, Mr. Mbalo, who said it at our press conference. But we don't attack other parties. It's not our volition. They are sovereign. They can take their positions. It is the citizenry who should engage in conversation with those parties and their leaders and engage with us. What we are saying, the Constitution is yet to reach us. The Constitution Assembly. And they need to be given that respect to do their job. Members what they are to do. I don't know whether you are hearing us very clearly. We are not criticizing others, but we are saying we have no mandate, no authority to dictate their job. We can only share our opinions with them. And that's why a book has been produced on the subject matter that people can read and inform themselves. So this whole book, and we've made sure that those who matter at least purchased copies, and I must say that National Assembly members had purchased this book. So what is there is to say that we are not discussing content at the moment. The state to discuss and goes to the committee stage, then come to us what our position is in each of the clauses, and we'll tell you. We'll take a position on each of the clauses, and but as it stands, we have not nation. We are making that very clear, that building a constitution, making a constitution requires procedure. And we have criticized the executive of not consulting properly. Lateral action, we have done that. We were among the first who said, when they took it out, when in fact it was not, we followed them on that they should do it in that particular way. We followed them all the way. And at that time, we called it Barrow's constitution, Cabinet's constitution, so that they see that they have not consulted properly. And to us, that had not been crafted out of that national consensus. But that has its part, and that is finished. It has been published in the Gazette. It has been brought to the National Assembly. National Assembly members to discuss the principles. We should not bring any controversy. There is no National Assembly or Gambian who does not believe that when that 19 no political parties, so that alone suffices to say we need to look at it again. So therefore, we are looking forward to National Assembly members accepting to move to the third stage, then the debate, national debate will start.
Yeah?
I'm sorry, always is that if you were in the National Assembly and it comes to a stage of voting in it, will you vote yes or no?
What is yes or no? We are saying this confusion in our, that I was in National Assembly when in 2020.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but the way you ask, anybody can distort what is being said. Yes or no for what? I'm saying, just listen very carefully. In 2020, we voted on the principles and agreed that it should. Anybody who is enlightened would do the same thing. That is, allow the bill to pass the second stage, to go to the committee stage where there was debate. There would have been debate. And in that debate, it does not mean that the. If you read this book, you will see even the flaws, some flaws in the 2020 text, that even if it passed the second stage, we will to recraft some of its provisions. So that is what needs to be understood, not to just go and say, these people say they will vote for the second. That's not the issue. The issue is to allow it to pass to where we can engage in debate. Don't deprive the people of a national debate on the text. That's what we are saying. And in 2020, we deprived the people of that national debate.
Hello? Yes, any more questions? Seems that there are no more questions.
And I will beg them, Uncle Celia, let nobody go there and say that these people say that they will pass it in the second reading. Don't distort what we have said, because the people are not clear yet what is the second reading. What we are saying is, so they should allow it to pass the second reading so that a national debate on the content can start. That's what we are saying, that's what you should report.
Yes, yes, yes.
Was this asset classification which is becoming a trend now? On the 11th, the PPP agreement between the Gambia Port Authority and Al-Barai is coming into effect. From your own point of view, do you think this is the best way of, improving the country's economic situation?
We are saying it's a reflection of economic, because if you have to recycle your assets, it's just like selling also. You know, there was a privatization process in the First Republic. Companies were mismanaged, public enterprise mismanaged, and eventually they had to privatize them. So the issue is not to rely on your sovereign assets to try to that you can use for development. You are tying yourself. You are not freeing yourself. Follow us in our analysis. We'll show you how much is being collected from that bridge. If you were to accumulate it, you'll be able to buy your own ferries. You will see how you can have what you call a multiplying effect, what you raise from those resources. And consequently, you will be able to continuously expand your population, the wealth that you make, because there the ferries will make, the bridge will make, and it goes on and on and on. So you take something and you give it to be managed by somebody. Where are you? Suppose now, as we said, that your exchange rate continues to depreciate against you. Suppose now even the use of the facility and the earning reduces. Then you see that for a longest time, those people will not be able to get their assets, and if you sign a contract, it will take you to international tribunal. So that is really not safe. It's very risky for a country. That's what we are saying. Is their own decision. But the citizens must continue to develop a country. The limitation is that they are not building sovereign national wealth. They are not investing in the productive base. And no country in the world will be able to survive without the state building sovereign national wealth. That is a that they are ignoring at the moment. But all of you should take note. 10, 15 years, you will hear it everywhere, all over the world, that they cannot just depend on taxation to be able to sustain development. That is not possible. Okay?
Yes. Of course, it's free to ask. It is a question. Nobody is entitled to a question. Yes, if you can.
Okay. Okay.
Ale.
I said, the system is no, this one. So we can close. This man, the political campaign, it has
I don't know whether you have understood what he has been saying. You understand? Okay.
well, it seems that he's on a political campaign.
And he's giving you an assignment. The press. He's assigned the responsibility of meeting all the political leaders of this to find out from them what their manifestos are, what they stand for this country. When, like this press conference, we communicate what is being transmitted here to the larger public. And what he implied, and I'm going to say it, is accessible to only those who read English. And that's just a small fraction of this population. Very small fraction of the population. And his concern is how do you access the larger population in this country. Don't you think you have another role to play in making whatever you have to give to the people to make it accessible to them?
So the press, you see how you've been ambushed?
Good afternoon, I'm Kemerson Saleh of Kets News. Honorable Saleh, you made mention of the role of the National Assembly. The executive just proposed to us, but the ultimate role because the National Assembly members that made laws. History teaches us that the first document of the National Assembly was killed prematurely at the second reading before the National Assembly, and there is a vast majority of them that have spoken or have been into that platform made it very clear that they will kill the draft first. Second reading, they do not believe that you need to go to the committee state that you are advocating. What position, whether you will engage the National Assembly members to convince them, since they are the lawmakers, not to kill the draft constitution at the second reading, but allow them to go to the committee state where the government will have the opportunity to have their say in the government.
We are not better citizens than any Gambian advocating for anything. Each Gambian citizen is sovereign. Only be governed through our collective intelligence. And that is why we need a conversation among ourselves so that each will reflect and determine what is best for us. A comment made by the former Bar Association chair on the book, meaning that a jurist has read what is there. From the very beginning, he said that we brought about change democratically. We did not overthrow what we said. In 2018, 2017 to 2018, who were the cabinet ministers? Who were the members of cabinet? Who agreed to bring that Constitutional Review Commission bill to the National Assembly? We were not part of the government. But we told them then that we create a Constitutional Review Commission to review everything and bring a draft constitution for promulgation. That is not the language of Section 226 of the Constitution. That the language of 226 of the Constitution says there are provisions in the 1997 Constitution which can be changed by the National Assembly and those that will require a referendum, entrenched and non-entrenched. That therefore, there is no need to take the route that you people have taken. What is a shorter route is to look at all the provisions that could be changed by the National Assembly, put them together, and those that will require a referendum to put them together, bring them to the National Assembly, and then we look at it, adopt it, and then it goes to the people for a referendum. And at that material time, we were among the only people who were out of the coalition. There was a coalition there. It seemed that we were the only people who did not hold a position in that coalition government. And the National Assembly, the coalition had the majority. It is in the process of consultation that everything went to pieces. And then, within 1 year, we could have had, and in that constitution, you could have had a transitional provisional provision, transitional and consequential provision on how to change the constitution wholesale. All that could have been amended. So then you can come and adopt a new constitution for the Third Republic. All that could have been done. But they disagreed with that. Well, so now, what we are saying is, 2020 came, even though we disagreed with the method they use, we adopted, we supported the process of the 2020 going to the committee stage so that we can review it in order to push the agenda. Now, what do we do? For us, we are saying the procedure, it does not mean that even this 2024 will pass. We are saying is the procedure is it can go to the If anybody wants to reject, you can reject in the third stage, third reading. These people are the National Assembly members. The law gives them the power to make the law, the Constitution, to build the Constitution, I mean. It gives them the power to build the Constitution. They are also part of those who make the Constitution because it must pass through them before it goes to a referendum. So that's how important they are. It's not us, it's not me, you. What matters is what they do. That's what we are saying. And what they should do is already established by law. If they prefer to do something else, well, that's their own volition. Let history judge them by their decisions. That's all. But we are not advocating, we are not asking anybody to do anything. Do what people wish to do.
Yes?
In 1996, we were very passionate. We produced.
You translated the Constitution into 2 languages. You
Did everything to educate
before the referendum.
Educate the public.
To simplify it and publish it in cities to make it accessible to the population before the referendum.
So at the end, they were blaming us that we are the one promoting for the people to adopt the Constitution. What we are doing is telling people that if you don't have a Constitution, you will have decrees. And as long as you have the decrees, the military will be here. No. We don't want to get back into that. We will continue. If it comes to the committee stage, well, then we can help educate people on content.
But essentially,
so you can see we produced many booklets of this nature on all chapters of the Constitution there, analyzing what people were saying and clarifying issues, pamphlets after pamphlets. And we were selling them for $2 so that it became accessible to the people at that time. But with all that work, these are the people who keep the soldiers here.
what I will add to what has been said, if we understand law-making process, if we can understand that, we will also understand the fact that any parliament, not just the Indian parliament, any parliament in the world, who kills a bill before the third reading, that parliament is running away from its fundamental duty. Stage that you critically look at every clause of a bill. You can amend, you can do anything with the bill at that stage. If you think anything that is there is not serving the interest of the people, you can kill it. If you don't do that, that's why you are exercising your oversight. So if you kill a bill before that, it means that you don't want to assume responsibility. That's what it means. It's running away from taking up responsibility. Well, if you have questions, thank you very much for having honored our invitation. And we look forward to many more of this. Now, you have been given an assignment. It's your duty to go and disseminate what you have heard. Thank you very much.
Do you accept?